Welcome to Big Blend Radio, where we celebrate variety and how it adds spice to quality of life. Hey everybody, it is January 13th, 2024, and apparently today is Rubber Ducky Day. So, Eva, Nancy, isn't it time on the count of 1, 2, 3? Rubber Ducky.
Rubber Ducky, you're the one.
The one.
You make bath time lots.
Eva, you're not supposed to laugh. You're supposed to sing with us.
I'm sorry, I don't know this song. I had a childhood or something. No.
What?
Oh.
Wait a minute.
What?
Wait. Okay.
How do you
Okay. Reverse, Nancy. 1, 2, 3, go. Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make bath time so much.
Lots of fun. Rubber Ducky, I'm in love with you.
Boo. You don't know that, and you collect rubber duckies,
Seriously?
Eva? I did not. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. I love this. Now we're going to do a rubber ducky show with a friend who collects rubber duckies,
Doesn't know
then
the Rubber Ducky
Nancy
song.
has this weird song that she taught me as a kid. So, okay, this is good. So, Nancy,
I think it was on.
Where did this Sesame Street?
Yes, it's on Sesame
And
Street.
Sesame
Bert and
Street.
Ernie sang it.
Yeah, it actually, and
Bert
then
and Ernie
in
sang
71, when the Irish Rovers sang it, on the Irish Rovers show, Little Richard did it. Even yes, on Sesame Street, he went and guested on it. Ernie.
Yes, it's pretty famous
from Sesame Street sang it. So apparently, Eva doesn't care about Sesame Street. Eva, have you watched Sesame Street? Because I haven't done that much of it.
I did a long time ago, but Sesame Street came after I was already an adult, and I don't have children, so I've not really, You see it, you hear about it, but it's not something I used to spend my afternoons watching.
Yeah, I just think it's funny that we do this show, and let's start this show off singing. And Eva's like, I don't know what the heck you're talking about. I think that's fantastic.
That's funny.
But that's why we do these shows, right? That's the power of this. Is about
it's funnier than most comedies on TV today. Sesame Street's funny.
Oh, yeah. And, so many people guested on Sesame Street. All kinds of musicians and actors and people, even Eddie Murphy. Okay, I'll get into a whole thing on that. But Eva, for you, Rubber Duckies, because I think one of the first times we met you, and everyone, Eva Eldridge is a writer on our shows. She's on our podcast all the time. You can go to evaeldridge.com. All the links are in the show notes. Rubber Duckies, I just always remember seeing them in your home. Like we'd come over, have dinner, and go in and I'd get the giggles because you had rubber duckies. You got our orchids when we went on the road, and I would see rubber duckies amid the orchids. I've seen them move around over the years in your home. So
yes,
I just want to know, where did this start?
Okay, so way back when in our 20s, after I moved to Tucson and met some people, maybe this was the early 80s. And anyway, so I met some women that would get dressed up as ducks for Halloween. So they had their little group of 3 or 4 or 5 people, and they did ducks for Halloween. And they did, ducks one year and Halloween ducks and, ducks from space. And then we got to join them. So we did a flock of ducks because there were like 10 of us at that point. And then one year we went as ducks as president. And we won a bunch of, at the bar, we would win the award for the night. And then
we said we were not going to get political tonight, but we are.
No, that was a long time ago. I don't even know what presidents we were. Yeah. So, and then
that's funny.
I went to China with some of these duck friends, and we all took our duck bills to China, and we have pictures of ducks on the wall. 4 of us
like the song from the Kinks, "Ducks on the Wall." Like Ducks on the Wall,
No,
the Kinks
because
song. Are
okay,
you kidding me?
because
Oh my gosh, everyone, song of the day. Forget, move over. Rubber Ducky, you're the one. Ducks on the Wall,
but
the Kinks.
there's a
Oh, no
thing.
way.
Those are
Sorry,
No, but
bricks on the wall
I
of the
was
well.
I was
That's a Pink Floyd one. I know that one.
no, Ducks on the Wall from the Kinks. Pink Floyd did Bricks
Oh,
on the
okay.
Wall. I'm talking
Okay.
about Kinks, the Kinks. The Kinks
Okay.
okay,
have
but then
ducks on the wall. Yeah.
what year was that you went? Do you know?
To China? The
Yeah.
year before Tiananmen Square. We were there in 1986.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. This is way early
And
because
we
I
went to,
just
yeah,
go
I
ahead.
was young then too. And we went to Tiananmen Square. Of course, this is the year before the big uprising. It was different there. The culture was completely different than it is now.
Mm.
We were there for 3 weeks. We were in mainland China for 3 weeks, and we were in Hong Kong for a week. So
Wow.
it was but the lady who took our picture of ducks on the wall couldn't seem to find the focus. So I have some very blurry pictures of us in our little duck bills and duck feet.
Well, okay.
But the duck collecting started with the Halloween group, and so not only do I have rubber duck people, not only do I have rubber duckies, I have various forms of ducks with various purposes.
Are you saying that now
Hello.
as we travel, we need to not bring you orchids, but we should be bringing you ducks from different
Unusual,
places?
yeah, and I have a Statue of Liberty duck, rubber duck, that I actually bought when we went to the Statue of Liberty. But people give them to me. Most of them came to me through other people.
Oh, Nancy's busting at the seams here. Let her go. Let her go.
Because I just want to read this. In China blocked searches for the big yellow duck because of people like you.
Yeah.
They did.
What?
No, this is just like seriously.
What year is this?
In 2013, China blocked searches for the big yellow duck because Chinese activists were photoshopping the rubber duck sculpture into the Tankman photo of Tiananmen Square massacre.
Oh,
so who knew that? Why would what? And so,
wow.
if you clicked on the big yellow duck or search for the big yellow duck, you get a message that said you couldn't be shown it because it's.
Well, that's interesting because today I went to do some rubber duck and my virus software said you can't go here.
Because
literally
I didn't know it was I had no idea the big rubber duck would ever be political, but there it is. China got
I thought
pissy.
rubber duckies were about having fun in the bathtub with your friends, and you get in the bathtub. I mean, when I grew up, and Nancy, you knew that, like if you had a bunch, back in the days of community family raising, not communes, but, parents would get together and say, just throw the kids in the bathtub and we're drinking wine. Let's put it that way. And they'd throw the kids in the bathtub. The kids would be, and they were like, here, play with some rubber duckies. And then we got action figures and stuff like that afterwards. But, but rubber duckies, it was kind of part of getting into the bathtub, I thought.
But it's also a protest symbol in Belgrade, Brazil, Moscow.
Dang. I just thought it was about bathtub time.
I had no idea until I started researching.
I mean,
the rubber duck is political.
I know, and you went to China. And can we talk about China for a second here? Because that is a big deal. I know musicians who have been hired to go over there, and it's a big, it sometimes didn't happen because of so many issues going. Not being able to use internet.
You have to have a visa. It took a while to get our visas. and you had to have shots, like not fun shots before you went.
Oh, wow.
And when we got there, we thought we had plans. We thought we had these plans. We didn't go through a tour company, but we had plans to go into, we went from Hong Kong to Shanghai to Beijing to Xi'an, and then we were going to go to Guangzhou, and then we were going to go to Guilin, but we couldn't get a way out of Guilin, so we ended up not going there and just doing Guangzhou. And the thing is, all of the plans we had to do all these things, we found out all of our stuff our reservations did not exist. We got to China, we got to Shanghai, we found a taxi driver and a place to stay, right? And then as soon as we got into a town, we had to make our flights to get out of that town because the reservations we thought we had, we didn't. So we ended up in Xi'an for 5 days, which was longer than we really wanted to be there, but, that's okay. It worked out fine. We did it was an interesting trip. We did not drive. You do not want to drive in China, not at that time. I don't know, it's probably not much better now. But it was such an experience. And we stood out. I've always been big, a large person. Our friend Greg is blonde-haired. Cindy is almost 6 foot tall. And then there's Lance. So here we are, being tourists, not with a tour group, walking around the streets of China, and the people would literally crowd around us. To talk to us. They wanted to practice their English. If we stopped, and this is the day of film cameras, right? We all had our film cameras.
Oh, yeah,
and so if you stopped to change film, there would be a whole group of people around us. It was just such an experience.
Because that's what I thought was so. We've interviewed people who've gone to China before and everything, and for them it does actually really depend on when you went. Right? Because China is so everything historically is so crazy.
It's
right?
way modern. It has totally changed. It's
Hong Kong
modernized.
is not what it was. Hong Kong, when you talk about Hong Kong now, there's a singer, Jennifer Saran, who's been on our show calling from Hong Kong. And I'm like, you can do that. She goes, yeah, but you can't do it here. There's certainly, some places you can, depends where, how, what. And, it's really interesting. We've never gone that area, at all. And
Hong Kong,
we've never done it. It's different.
Hong Kong at that time was part of the British. It was British. It was not China. It wasn't part of China, and that has completely changed.
Yeah.
So it was urban. It was very urban. It was very fast paced. There was tons of shopping, and our theme was shop until you drop, which we had a great time doing. So I don't know. It was. I'm totally glad I had that experience. Wow. I'm not sure I want to go back to Hong Kong. I don't think I want to go to China now these days. There's other places in Asia, but not China.
It's a little different.
It would be real different.
It's different now, and that's what I was saying. It was changing so frequently in history. Modern day history was modern day. It's happening all the time. And I think that's what Nancy and I try to explain about Africa too, in a way. That when we were there in Africa, it was different. And Rubber Ducky, different. I'm going to tie it back to that. Who knew this conversation was going to go into China and Africa? But it is. So Rubber Ducky was our name. And so, that Nancy and I want to get and we still haven't done it. We keep saying that for Christmas, and we always forget to do anything for ourselves together. Like that. We just go for experience, but we keep saying 2 things. We're going to do our ancestry.com or whatever, the 23andMe or whatever, our DNA. So Glenn Burrows from England our Norfolk tours can find out that, who we are and, ancestry wise, and that we get a CB radio. That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. The CB radio started as a thing when we lived in Kenya. I was a little girl in Karen. And it's so funny because, yesterday's show was about tea. And I was talking about, oh, we were on the tea plantation. And it was like, no, actually it was coffee, but there was also tea. So I was quite right, but not right. But I was a little kid in Caine in Nairobi. Caine was a neighborhood. And at the same time, when we lived in this neighborhood, which was named after Karen Blixen. So for everybody with the Out of Africa movie and book, Karen Blixen is kind of her, Dennison is her last name, Karen. She was from Holland, Denmark area, and came over to Kenya to marry this guy who was a baron, who was an idiot and had syphilis, cheated on her, and she ended up running the farm in Africa. And these, anyway, we ended up in her servants' quarters, right, Nancy, living there.
Yeah, we lived in.
Well, historically, because right now, 1915, it became a museum, her actual ranch house. But so understand when we say servants' quarters, it was from way back when. It was beautiful.
A cottage.
God, we were so lucky.
Yeah, it was a cottage with 2 to 3 rooms, and it was not what when you say servants' quarters, you think of almost a jail cell and one room and no toilet and all that. But it had all the things you needed, and it was nicely decorated. It had beautiful gardens
across the street from the Leakeys, right? The anthropologist,
right next to Philip Leakey, the grandson of Louis
Richard Leakey. Yep, and his dog got our dog.
Anthropologist.
Yep, and he got our dog pregnant.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
Not the man.
Did.
The dog, his dog.
God, Lisa.
Sorry, we were talking about bath time and everybody getting in there at once. So, but anyway, sorry, I'm just kidding.
Not with a dog, though.
But I'm gonna bring it home. This is like farmland, and then we ended up moving into another home. And look, Nancy and I have looked at Karen, outside of Nairobi, Kenya. And when you look at that, like we were sitting on prime real estate and had no clue. I mean, this is in the late 70s, and what is there now? I mean, Nancy, we need to like start a new business or something to be able to afford what we did. We were very lucky.
It was really nice when we were there.
It is magical, and it's like the growing country. It is. It's almost like Rwanda has the tea and coffee and the what's the flower? Not pyracantha, Nancy. It's the flowers that they grow out there. There's also like a good pesticide that people use. It's really beautiful in Rwanda, in Uganda too. They do it. Pyrethia, Nancy. What is the flower? You're gonna remember somewhere in this conversation, but. Anyway, beautiful flowers.
Okay.
You can grow anything over there. It's insane.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's on the equator.
I know. You could take a cutting off a plant and just stick it in the ground.
It's pyrethia.
I don't want to say that. You could stick it in the ground and make sure it was watered for like half an hour and then leave it. And then 3 days later, it's growing.
Yeah, it's
because the climate was so moist. I did say moist.
Oh.
And I know. And because it was such a good place to grow things.
Now, let me circle back. This place, it was like growing. I mean, the terrain is moist. It is perfect growing. And the soil at that time, the topsoil was true rich earth. Like it looked like chocolate cake. Yet you could also have clay and everything, but there was like that chocolate cake dirt in ways in different places.
Nice, man. It was so much fun to garden there.
You wanted to eat the dirt, literally, and I think I did as a kid. But rubber ducky, getting back to the topic, rubber ducky was everybody had like a CB ham radio thing that like an intercom system between the neighborhood.
Yeah, you
got to think we were in the boonies in Africa, and how did everybody communicate? You had to walk there, which we did often, or you didn't have like normal phones at that point. And well, I think we did, right? It was just really
No, we had a
expensive,
phone and we had a television, which
which
only
was,
worked for three
yeah,
hours a
Africa,
day.
yeah, 3 hours a day. It was like even in South Africa, you had to, each channel was like, if you know, at this time it would be Afrikaans, at this time it would be Xhosa, at this time it would be
Yeah,
Zulu, and then
yeah.
now it's different. We have Netflix and all that. But in Kenya, you have a
It
phone,
was
but
cool.
it's a cost. So everybody had this. Was it a CB radio? Because we were rubber ducky. We go rubber
Yeah,
ducky,
it
rubber
was.
ducky.
It was a CB radio, and
It
every
is, or
house
ham.
was
You would either have CB or ham.
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and so we just click the little button, and go, "Hello, rubber ducky."
Rubber ducky. That our name was rubber ducky. Then I found out that rubber ducky is part of that kind of communication. That is part of the
We didn't
history
know
of
that.
rubber
We just
ducky.
did it because it's funny.
No, but it was true. It is actually part of it. Of the like military used that and stuff. Like we need Mike
Um,
Guardia to come on this show, but I don't know how he'll like us talking about rubber duckies and military communication, but there is history at that era of rubber ducky being the thing. And at the same time, you've got to think we got us a convoy came out with
yeah.
W.C. McCall, right? And that was one, what was the movie, Nancy? Cannonball Run? Cannonball Run. Um, and CB radios, and we got us a convoy, and that is also part of it, that history.
Hey,
But I mean, we
C.W.
were living
McCall
it.
did this song, but the actor was Chris Christopherson. You gotta not take him out.
I'm not
C.W.
gonna
McCall wrote the song.
W.C. McCall. He was the
Yeah, okay.
man. He wrote
Yeah,
it.
he wrote the
Um,
song.
but
But
anyway, we were the Rubber Duckies when we were in Kenya. That was our nickname. So, I'm just going to say this is really interesting. Evo, you go off to China as the Ducks, and here we are just a few years earlier playing Rubber Ducky between the expats, basically, in a community in Kenya. I think that's kind of
Mhm.
crazy how rubber ducks got around. It's interesting.
Oh yeah, and now
Mm.
and they're kind of a kitschy thing. They've turned into a kitschy thing, whether they're being used
Mhm.
politically or not. But
Mhm.
because you can find them, you go tourist shops, you can find rubber duckies almost everywhere,
Yeah.
right? And I have glass rubber duckies. I have
Oh.
stuff. I have stuff. Well, my Christmas ornaments are definitely patterned after rubber ducks, but they are glass. They're glass ornaments. And then I have
Wow.
stuffed ones and carved ones, and I don't know. People get carried away with them. So the ducks are kind of a thing around here, and they're here and there and everywhere. And I have some for Christmas. I have Christmas ducks, and I also have, holiday ducks, 4th of July ducks.
So what
So
is it
anyway,
about what is
Wow.
it about the ducks, the little ducks that you want to collect? What makes you want to do
I
that?
didn't want to collect them. People just started giving them to me. So, go with the
Oh,
flow.
okay.
Oh, well,
No,
literally, but
because
now there's rubber duck races, right? That
yeah, I
people
know
do
there's
No,
throughout
races.
the
I think those are
country.
real duck. I
No,
think
no,
those are
there's
real duck races, aren't
no,
there?
no, 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 no. Well, there's
Oh
two
gosh,
things,
I hope
okay?
not.
But no, 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 no. These are rubber duck races. Now, you can go to Memphis, Tennessee, and there's like a hotel where you
Of
can see the
course.
ducks, the marching of the ducks or something in
There are
one of the hotels.
there are
But
real duck. Nancy, there are real duck races. There's a duck race in Hatch, New Mexico.
well, I'm talking about the
With
I'm
rubber
not
duck
real
kidding.
ones.
ducks?
Rubber duck
Real
ones
ducks.
are okay. I'm talking about I'm talking about rubber duckies going down a stream. And what people do in a community is they purchase, it's kind of like you have flamingos on your lawn. You know,
Yes.
people buy a bunch of flamingos and stake them in your lawn and tag you pay for it all, you know, and that's the same kind of thing as, the rubber ducks. people purchase ducks. Like I'll put $5 on the duck or 10, 15, 20, 100, whatever it is. And then they have like a race. They let the race, I know they do it in some places in like, I think Breckenridge, Colorado. They have it in different places and they let the rubber ducks go down the creek or the river and then they catch them and whoever gets to, they tag the ducks, the rubber ducks, not the real ducks. They tag the ducks and whoever gets there first is the winner, just like a normal human race. But that's what happens. And they do that as a fundraiser across the country if you're in a place with rivers. So that's a real deal. Rubber ducks fundraising. It's a whole thing.
One of the most famous ones is in Knoxville, Tennessee. The
No,
rubber
that's
duck
it. Yeah.
race. Yeah.
That is the one.
And
yep.
And at some point there was some legal problems with it because they said it was a lottery, not a real race.
Oh, who cares?
Yeah, I know, because it wasn't a live duck or a live person racing. It was plastic toys
Chicago
floating.
does it. I'm looking at all these sites now.
So,
it's crazy.
No, but they had to. No, this is interesting because the state had to amend its constitution to allow lotteries with special exceptions just because of the ducks. I think that's funny.
Eva, how many ducks could you put into a race, do you think? With your collection.
How many are you allowed? How many would you be allowed?
I don't know. I don't know if you would even want to put your own, but they buy a bunch. So like Wales does it. Wales does it. Germany does it.
The Derby duck race in Tennessee has over 40,000 ducks.
Dude.
But all the funds go to the boys.
Actually, that's cool.
And it's not real ducks. It's the little plastic ones. And all the proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Club, which is in Tennessee Valley, which is cool. And then there's like Halifax has one that has 10,000 ducks. Lumsden Duck Derby, which is a Labor Day thing in Saskatchewan. Oh my gosh. It started in 1988 to raise funds to fund an ice rink. Now they have 25,000 rubber ducks in their race.
What fun.
I know. So, I mean, so there's 68 different charities that get their funds from Rubber Ducky.
I also have to say, Convoy is actually a movie, not just Cannonball Run using that song. We got us a Convoy. There's actually the movie Convoy that got started, and it did have, look at that cover. Everybody go look at it. Just type in Convoy film and you will see Chris Christopherson. Oh, Nancy, Ali McGraw and him.
No, but he actually had to say on screen when he was filming it.
Oh, he does. He's pretty
my constituent, he didn't use that word. My logo, my whatever, is the rubber duck.
Dude.
He didn't say ducky.
But they did do it in Cannonball Run too, like the whole Convoy song too.
He made it serious.
Maybe I just don't remember. Eva, did you watch any of these movies? I know you like the books more, maybe, but
I gotta go watch it again now.
I know. Maybe a long, long time ago. I haven't watched them in decades, so I probably did before then, though.
Man, we gotta get back to this. Because it was the truck driver, Martin Rubber Duck Penwalt.
Right.
What? He was from Arizona. How about that? Who knew
and
this?
He's like, we got us a convoy.
This is crazy. And there's a CB radio thing. Oh, that's it. Nancy, we got to do it. And there's Pigpen, Spider Mike. Come on. Now, Eva, what would your CB radio name be?
Wow. You didn't ask me this ahead of time, so I don't
I know. Nancy, what would yours be? We can't have Rubber Ducky. Rubber Ducky's out.
I would probably be Plucky Ducky.
What?
Ducky.
wait, both of you answer at the same time. Eva, go back.
Sorry.
What's yours?
I'd probably go with tortoise.
Tortoise.
For a duck?
Yeah, not duck. Duck.
CB radio
Waddle.
name.
Yeah, tortoise.
I like that. See, now I would call you Turtle though, because I always call it tortoise and turtles. I get confused all the time, so I just call them all turtles. So I'm sorry,
our
but
friend Elaine Powers.
Yes.
Elaine Powers has
From
a
Tucson
book called
Sisters in Crime.
Don't Call Me Turtle.
I know she gets mad at me.
It's the title of one of her books, and she has she writes scientifically based children's books.
And I'll laugh. She doesn't get mad at me, but I mean, like, she wants you to know the information, and it's cool. She's cool. She's part of the Tucson Sisters in Crime, and they're fun. And she's been on our shows a couple times, and one time she came on with an iguana on the show, and I think that's pretty cool. But she did not agree with the turtle, because that would mean mating of the two, which is probably not good. You don't want the duck and the goose to get together, right?
Yeah.
Or the rooster.
They're not going to do that.
The rooster and the goose got a gander, but apparently that's not a good thing. So I don't know. I've got my own song going off. But Nancy, what about you? What's your CB radio name? I'm sorry, but Eva, you're turtle. I'm sorry. I know you want turtle. Sorry, you're turtle. Next time you come on the show, I'm calling you turtle. Turtle's here. Nancy?
Plucky ducky.
What? Say that again, because that did not come out clear.
The plucky ducky.
The plucky ducky?
Mm-hmm.
Eva, is that scary? Can you call Nancy?
I think she's a little plucky. I think that'll work.
Plucky ducky is good. Plucky ducky.
Mm-hmm.
I
How
agree.
About you, Lisa?
Yeah, I like that. Me?
Yeah, you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, see?
I'm going to go with Kasuku, which is my nickname. So I'm going to go with Kasuku. Kasuku is a parrot, and it is, but that's your CB radio name, and I can do that. And Kasuku, and there's a good reason for this. Kasuku is a parrot because I can copy things. I'm good at it. When I was in high school, I could copy people's sick notes. I could make sick notes. I could copy people's signatures and made a lot of money at it. I can mimic people's voices, all of that, like a parrot, right? So Kasuku is a parrot. That's why I got that nickname in Kenya. So going back to, that era. And with Kasuku, I like it because a parrot on the CB radio, it's kind of funny. Like, if you could have a parrot, like, there's a hotel and, Eva, I know you know the hotel. There's a motel more, that that you've stayed at too. And I'm just not going to name names at this point, but whenever the hotel owner would come out, we would hear from like the back of a hotel in the urban area, the housing, you would hear, shut up, shut up, shut up. And it was a parrot turning around. It was saying, shut up. And I just think
that was too much fun.
That was funny as heck, because we kept going, who's saying shut up? Like, who's doing this? Whenever she came through, this parrot went off,
would go crazy,
and said shut up, and went berserk.
Yeah.
And it took us years, literally years, to find out that it was actually a parrot and not a human being. So, power to the parrots and the mockingbirds in life.
There was something about her that set the parrot off. And even though it was like behind the fence of where the motel was, across a little tiny dirt road, there was a house, 3 houses down from where the hotel was, that the parrot would hear her voice and immediately start, shut up, shut up. every
Is that
time
amazing?
she walked on the property and started talking, it was instantaneous. It was like, oh, that character,
I think though
that
that
was
Chris
crazy.
Christopherson, I would like him to call me on a CB radio. Just and then if you're gonna have a rubber ducky in a bathtub, I'm just saying. But
Oh,
apparently, I'm just saying, rubber ducks. Part of that was actually the history does have to do with getting kids to take their bath. That's part of
well, it's
it.
supposed to make it fun for them because they have a toy that actually, at first in the 1800s, the toy didn't float. And then they had to readjust and make the rubber duck float. And then it became something that kids could have, one of the first toys that kids could have in the bathtub and have it float instead of sink.
And
So,
I'm not a big sports person in that I don't know anything about sports because you're never going to find me run. But if I do, like, you better film it because it's rare sighting of a dinosaur running. But the Akron Rubber Ducks is a minor league baseball team from Akron, Ohio. And they are all about paying heritage to rubber ducks, which is their history of being Akron, Ohio, the rubber industry, the birthplace of tire and rubber companies, Goodyear, Firestone, BF, Goodrich. Yep, Goodrich tires, Goodyear tire, General Tire. Think about that.
mm-hmm.
So that's kind of interesting how things end up in your bathtub and yet you drive around on them. So these byproduct thingies happen. I think that's interesting and it's cool. And they have the rubber ducks. I mean, that duck looks pretty mean. I'm looking at the
I
team
don't
logo.
think he looks mean.
He's gonna get you. Yep.
Yeah, but he is like any other animal. He looks first and
He's fierce.
he's cagey. It's
Mm.
like he's always going to look out and go, am I going to get hurt?
Eva,
What
what
are you
about the
doing?
sports side of rubber ducks? Do you ever pin your ducks against each other?
No, I'm not very I'm not very I'm not very competitive.
What the,
She's like, we're
So
not doing that.
I know.
yeah, no, they don't get, and I don't know. Sorry.
Do you play
No,
with them?
but now there are some big rubber ducks in the world. There's one, and I think it's Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
Australia, Nancy.
Yeah, there's
No.
some that are
Oh,
huge.
yeah, yeah, yes. There are
Yeah, they
huge
make huge,
ones
huge, huge ones.
that
There's
float down rivers.
monuments,
Hmm.
but that's it's deeper than just the rubber duck. It really is
Hmm.
talking about um migration and livelihood and um because ducks have a personality where you can't just mess with them like geese. When I mess with a duck or a goose, good luck.
Mm.
They're not going to go, oh, okay. They're going to bite, they're going to nip, they're going to do whatever has to happen. So it's a feisty bird thing.
Oh.
And just because they walk on the ground more than they fly doesn't mean they can't fly, but they own the
Mm.
ground they walk on. They take it as
Mm.
their territory and they're serious about it.
Mm.
And
I
so
want
you
to.
have to respect it.
We do. And ducks are awesome. Ducks.
Mhm.
By the way, just speaking of ducks, go to a duck pond. Don't feed them bread, please. Don't do it. Not good for ducks. It
Mm-mm.
swells in their belly and all that. It's not good. Um, Eva,
For
do
us
you like
either.
ducks? I mean, I know you've got ducks everywhere, and I want to talk about people collecting ducks, about what happens to ducks when people decide to throw them away. So,
What,
can
the
you
rubber
please,
duck?
yeah, rubber ducks, people when they throw them away, there's a book about it.
What?
Moby Dick, the true
Really?
story of 28,000 bath toys lost at sea. People throw their ducks and throw their things away, ends
Oh
up
my
in the
gosh.
ocean, and it is
Yeah.
one of the
Well,
bad things that happen in our ocean. So I don't want to be a downer on this, but we should touch on that, because
or when they float them, probably if they float them down the rivers and then they get lost because they're floating them down rivers. That the ducks aren't rubber anymore, though we call them rubber. They're plastic, and that would be plastic. If you get rid of them, that's going to be plastic waste, no matter what you do. I think the only one I've ever gotten rid of actually kind of died, fell apart. It was outside in the fish pond, and it didn't like being in the sun in Arizona very much. But that's the only one I've ever gotten rid of. The rest of them I all have.
The races that they do, the fundraising, they're gathering them all, So I just want to be strong about that. When people do these races, it's like a duck derby down a river. And it's not like a wide, big river. It's like, hey, we're taking these down the stream. It's just silly, and we're doing it, but it's fundraising, so that's cool.
But how about in the past? People just outside of the racing. People take them on down and put them in the river, and there they go, and they never come back, and they end up in the ocean.
Yep.
I don't know. It's kind of like balloons. They release balloons, and they go out, and they're out in the environment, which aren't a good thing either. And we know that now. It's fun when you're doing it, but it was fun then. But then we see the impact of that later, and it's not fun.
Yeah, that's a really good point about balloons, man.
The recent races are way more controlled than that. Like the first races, people did that, but now the races are pretty much controlled, and you have to pay an entrance fee, and you have to clean up after yourself, and you can't just.
But there's people that will do the race themselves, even in a river or a balloon. Like we talk about balloons,
but Eva's talking about
what Eva's talking about with balloons and things are pretty crazy, but. Plastic bath toys. This is this book about Moby Duck, not Moby Dick. Sorry, Moby Duck, the true story of 28,800 bath toys lost at sea, are about that. Like what happens with giving these toys, which are fun. So this was a really cool way. When plastic came out, this was a huge, huge change in our world. It was part of the Industrial Revolution. It was massive about what we could do with plastic. And it's still really good in a lot of ways of what it helps in, medical, reasons. There's so many good things and of course, tons of bad. But now we're finding out like a lot of our stuff ends up in oceans. So I didn't mean to bring it up or be a Debbie Downer, or a Lisa Downer, but I'm just going to say, when you have them, be like Eva. Make them fun part of your house, make them be part of it. And it is cool. It is fun, but don't be, hey, I got this plastic. Let me throw it out again. Maybe think about what are we doing? Right. So Eva, would you prefer glass?
Yeah, you can't
duckies?
Give glass to a kid.
Well, I have a collection that are from Avon. Avon put out a bunch of ducks.
What? I did not know this. A collection
of ducks. Oh yeah, long time ago. So I have a collection of ducks. Well, they're in my room on top of one of the bookcases, and I have various forms of them. Ceramic and a little container thing that's like Talavera, but not really. It's black with highly painted. And wood, and then I have the Christmas ducks, and I have other ducks that are glass, and the rubber duckies are just fun. You can't break them. I like them because you don't break them, and they're just interspersed here and there around the thing. And I have no idea that I don't know that I get rid of them. Somebody else is going to have to clean out my house when I die.
But because they add a joy.
That's funny.
No, Nancy, I've been to your home, numerous times, and there's something about an unexpected little duck looking at you, and it makes you smile. And I want to just go back to that. So there's the environmental thing. So let's just be environmentally conscious, right? But when you look at a rubber duck or a duck paint, anything with a duck, don't you smile or laugh? Really. It's funny.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. It
No, you
depends.
can have a mean duck.
Depends on the duck. Honestly, it does depend on the duck.
I mean,
but all the rubber duckies are pretty funny.
I would laugh if I saw a rubber duck sitting in a harbor that is 50 feet by 60 feet. I'm sorry. I get the giggles really bad because that's funny. But people make them and there they go. And then they set them off into the harbor. I'm like, alrighty then. And it looks exactly like the bath toys. It's funny. I mean,
those are funny.
I'm not saying it should be done. I'm just thinking it's funny.
Oh, well, I'm telling you, I know there's Rubber Ducky, the song, and we got Convoy, the movie. I don't know about books about ducks, but I will say definitely Ducks on the Wall. And then Sunday, our podcast on Sunday is also going to have Ducks on the Wall because we're talking about cooking duck. Sorry, really bad timing on all of it. But yeah, do you like duck? Do you eat duck?
Yes.
Oh, well, you're going
I
to need
like
to
duck
tune
a
in.
lot.
Tune in for Sunday show because we're talking about Sunday suppers and cooking
recipe.
duck. And we're talking about that, and we talked about Ducks on the Wall too. The song, I'm going to send you that. The Kinks, man. But there's of course there's going to be duck songs out there. But everyone, happy National Rubber Ducky Day. Whether it's military communications, which is true, it did start from there's plastic and petroleum and all that history. But there's also the communications of Rubber Ducky. That's interesting, which is why I thought it was funny in Kenya when, that was part of our household was Rubber Ducky was our nickname on this radio thing. And you'd call, down to your friend. We didn't call on a phone. I don't know if it was the cost or but we just pick up and go, hey, yo, come on. We're going to go hike this field or whatever, It's so weird. But I was Rubber Ducky. Rubber Ducky, it's me. So Nancy, we got to go get our CB radio now. I think we've had more than enough inspiration. So we can get our CB radio on the road. And that way we can, talk to truck drivers too, which we want to do.
And say, what, do you have a rubber ducky? Yeah, right.
Yeah. What do you think, Eva? Nancy and I having Rubber Ducky as our name on the road and trying to talk to truck drivers and saying thank you for, well, because truck drivers could be beacons. Sometimes you don't want to talk to them, but
No. And you have to check to make sure somebody else doesn't have that handle already.
Oh, somebody else could have a rubber. Yeah, it's probably taken by now. Oh, well, but Rubber Ducky, you're the one. You make bath time
lots of fun.
And thank you for telling us about China. Would you go back now?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's different.
There's other places in Asia I'd rather go at this point. I think I like my memories of China from that trip, and I don't want to be disappointed in the changes.
Well,
do you think that
you see pictures?
Go somewhere new.
You see pictures.
Somewhere new. Yeah, go somewhere new.
Yep. Go somewhere new. Do you think sometimes you go? We've been talking about this so much lately on podcasts about don't wait. Go when you can go. And don't be overly comfortable about going. You know what I mean? People are like, oh, I'm going to wait for this. Nancy and I travel the country and we have some extra exploring to do. We have things that are going to be taking us out of our comfort zone just in the next day or two. So it's valuable to do it when you can, because the world is changing so quickly that when it's a good time to go to a place, do it. Like Alaska, Antarctica, all of that, do it now. You want to do those places? Don't wait on them. It's going to be different to have that iconic thing of what's in your mind,
Once again, I got to wait till I'm out of school. I only have through July, and then
Eva's like, I'm going to go again. But what you did in China is exactly the thing. That's the point I'm making. You went and you did it at a time that you could do it instead of waiting.
Yeah.
You know? And a lot of
Yes.
people wait until, hey, I'm retired to do it. Don't. If you can not do that, do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, don't wait till the perfect time, because sometimes there'll never be a perfect time.
I worked full time, and I was in school then with getting my bachelor's degree part time. And I went to China. I went to Scotland. I went to the Grand Cayman Islands. I went to New Zealand. I did a lot of trips while working full time and going to school. I mean, you can, if you really want to do it, you can find a way to do it.
Absolutely.
I agree.
I totally agree.
I agree. Everybody, keep up with Eva and her adventures at evaeldridge.com. She's on our shows all the time. And she was graciously being nice to do this show about rubber duckies instead of talking about Cabo, New Mexico. No, not New Mexico, Cabo, Mexico. Yeah, I'm still a little wonky here in my brain, but Cabo San Lucas. She had a wonderful time. We're going to talk about the food and the cooking classes that she went through, whale watching, you name it. We're going to talk about that next time with her, but she was very gracious and kind and polite to say, okay, I'll talk about rubber duckies. Who does that? That's a good friend. So I'm just going to say thank you, Eva, because seriously, you talked about rubber duckies instead of Cabo. I think that's pretty amazing. But we now know about China. So there you go. So
what's not fun about rubber duckies? I mean, that's at least fun.
I know. Yeah. That's the thing. I want things to, okay, that's a whole other conversation. I want to make them and make them do things. But anyway, like fun things, like, like squirt out of their mouth and stuff like that. Come on, be fun. But you can if you put them in the bathtub and do things. So anyway, I am not a rubber ducky specialist, but I do think rubber duckies are fun. Nancy, I know you do. So thank you for rubber ducky fun in my life in a different way. Thank you all for joining us. Happy Rubber Ducky Day. Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio. Keep up with our shows at bigblendradio.com.